Okay, hi everyone. Thank you, Luke and Carol, for meeting with me today. Do you guys both want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Carol Meredith. I'm the Executive Director for the ARC, Arapahoe and Douglas counties.
Luke?
Hi, I'm Luke Wieland, the Director of Community Outreach, Education, and Communication with the ARC, Arapahoe and Douglas County.
Great. Well, thank you again for joining me through Zoom. Carol, can you tell me a little bit about the ARC, Arapahoe and Douglas counties and its mission?
Sure. Well, we've been around for more than 65 years, almost 70 years. We were started by a group of parents who had kids with intellectual and developmental disabilities who thought their kids should be able to attend public schools. And so that's how it all started. And that was one of the major things we did, working together with families and individuals, and then moved on to deinstitutionalization. And so we've always been very involved in public policy development, but the core mission of our organization has always been individual advocacy. So we work with children and adults. It's really birth through end of life. We don't particularly care what your disability label is. We'll help you or try to help you. And if we aren't the best people to help you, we probably know somebody who could help you. And so we're very, very casual, very family oriented. Luckily, we don't have to abide by a lot of rules and regulations and grant proposals and all of those kinds of things. So our main focus is just helping individuals and their families. So we spend a lot of time listening. What's going on with them, what's working, what's not working, and then react and try to fix it, fill holes, fill gaps, or make changes. So that's a basic idea of what we do.
Thank you.
Sure.
Question for you, Luke. What has changed for you and your teams during this pandemic?
Our teams, a lot of what we do is that human connection, as Carol spoke about. We meet families where we can. During this, obviously, not being able to have that face-to-face and personal, interaction with families and loved ones and individuals with disabilities has made us kind of have to come up with new creative ways to keep people engaged and connected. Our advocates are working harder than ever during this pandemic, trying to, keep families, up to date on what the new, rules are, what new services are, what resources they can access, from families that need more support with, maybe rent or things, to families that are kind of in the know of what's going on. Also, we're trying to relieve stress and build whatever, we can to be normal and help families kind of just handle being at home all the time. So our advocates are reaching out to their cases and individuals on a regular basis. We've really tried to up our technology game to become new and creative of how to just let families talk and be around each other and connect differently in this day and age.
Perfect. And actually, Luke, that leads me into the next question. Many people say that necessity is the mother of invention. How you talked about technology, how have you adapted to meet the needs of your community?
Well, being thrown into this, and a lot of our families and individuals didn't know how to use the Zoom or come to meeting or all these different technologies of how you can actually see people, not just talk to them on the phone. So getting that information out there, if it's one-on-one support of walking them through how to join a Zoom meeting, running some support groups for parents and individuals so they can just talk about successes and things that aren't working for them. We run a ton of events online right now just to try and keep morale up, from trivia to bingo to different kind of activities for families. All of our training is moved online. So we kept the ship going. It's just it's a different, kind of wave we're riding right now.
Great. What do you think your greatest success has been?
It's the same as the ARC of Arapahoe and Douglas County has always been. We meet families where we can. Right now, since we can't physically go see them and can't physically, help them out. It's, being available at different times, different, opportunities when families need us. So if we need to run support groups later in the evening so they can kind of get going. If families join a group when it only has 15 minutes left, we'll just kind of let it keep rolling so they get stuff out of it instead of ending on time per se. And being adaptable. So really just our advocates are thinking outside the box and being super creative of how to keep their individuals safe and happy and as best as we can in this time.
Perfect. And so my last question, and for both of you, but I'll start with Carol. What tips do you have for individuals, self-advocates, and families during this time?
Well, I think families and self-advocates really have some of the most experience in the world dealing with adversity and tough situations. So this is not a new game for us to play. We're good at this. And we get resilience. We know how to keep going, and we know how to be kind and good to each other, and we know how to stay the course. And we're also really good at dealing with uncertainty, because many of us have dealt with that for years. We don't have a diagnosis, nobody's got the right treatment, nobody can figure out what's the right thing to do, and you just keep going ahead. And I think we can be real role models for the rest of our community on how to adapt and thrive in this environment. It's tough. The social isolation is tough. It's not, but we're also very experienced at isolation, right? We know what it's like to be isolated and to be not the most popular game in town, and how to keep ourselves healthy and together is skills we have, and we can just continue to use them to the best of our ability and reach out for help to each other, because none of us is in this alone, and we've all got great ideas to share and perspectives. So just got to stay the course.
Great. Anything to add, Luke?
Yeah, this really has shown the humanistic part of what we do. People with disabilities are just like everybody else in this world. They're nervous, anxious, afraid, wondering the what, where, and why of all this, like everybody else is right now. Our families, are struggling just like any other family would, disability or not. So, it kind of helps connect people more and more now that we're all kind of in this isolation business together. And how do we all come out of it as a, better society? And, re-looking at how we can, treat people in society, disability or not, is really kind of where I see the strength from our families. They've done this before. They've done this for a long time of sadly being kind of isolated, and they can help other families without a disability kind of learn how to succeed and thrive during all this.
Great. Well, thank you both so much for chatting with me today. I appreciate it, and all the great work you're doing for our community.